Hi and welcome to MySmartTech TV. My name's Jess and I'm your host. And this week I'm joined by Shaun Janks, who's the co-founder at DingGo. So welcome, Shaun.
Thank you, Jess. Good to be here.
Great. Now tell me a little bit about what DingGo do.
So, DingGo is a digital marketplace that lets anyone repair damage to their car or vehicle with using only photos. I think what's really connects with people is, I ask anyone, do you enjoy the experience of getting your car repaired? Have you damaged your car before, Jess?
No, actually, I've got a license, but I haven't really ever driven.
And I think most people that have, whether it was them or whether it was an aggressive pole in a car park that jumped out at them, we've all gone through that painfully terrible experience of damaging our vehicle and then going through the process of trying to get it repaired. I think we can all identify with it that it's not a very pleasant one. Driving around for quotes, who do I trust, where do I go, how much is it going to cost me, am I getting ripped off? All these kinds of things that lead to what is a very painful experience for customers.
I read an article and you sort of were saying, smash repairs is one of the few markets that still operates mainly offline. And there was a quote from you, Shaun, you said, it's just been untouched by the internet revolution and there's so many possibilities. Can you just talk me through, I suppose, what some of those possibilities are and how you guys are kind of aligning with those, and what the industry was like beforehand and why does it mostly operate offline?
Yeah, absolutely, Jess. So I think if you ask most viewers or anyone, the process of fixing your car is probably unchanged from what your parents went through. So you go back 30, 50, 60 years, you took your car to a panel shop, they marked it up, they quoted it, you weren't sure if you were getting ripped off or not. You may or may not have had your insurance involved in the situation. And it was a very offline, paper-based product that existed. And although car technology has come leaps and bounds and repairing technology has come leaps and bounds, the actual process that you go through is unchanged. And if I think back to where it all began, I'm not even from the industry. To be honest, I'm somewhat of a fraud, but that's allowed me to come into this with an open eye of building a customer-first product. So my story all began with my ex-housemate who was a notoriously bad driver. And for both of us, our vehicles, we were renting, our vehicles were the most expensive thing that we owned. And working full-time jobs, it was very difficult to ever find the time or the opportunity to fix your car. So him being a pretty bad driver, he found himself in this situation quite regularly. And he would always say to me, well, how do I go about fixing my car? Like, I don't even know who to trust. So it all started, well, why not just take a photo, send it to panel beaters? Then at the time, it was like, good luck finding a panel beater that's online, never mind one that accepts your photo, never mind one that's going to quote it off photos. And to me, it seemed strange. And it didn't seem right that you could book a flight to Europe overseas. You could, the entire travel industry, the food industry, you could do everything digitally. But this process of fixing your car was completely offline. And, you could find out more information about a $3.50 cup of coffee than you could someone fixing a $35,000 asset. And that to me just said, there's an opportunity for change here, and there's an industry here that is yet to go through the digitization and internet revolution. And that's where the story all began.
That's great. And what are you seeing kind of any other types of technologies coming through?
Yeah, I think in our space, it's a really interesting one. Maybe I'll go a bit on the journey for us. And, you go to a lot of these traditional workshops and you say to them, hey, we've got this concept. Wait, you want to do things digitally? That's not how it works, mate. And it's bringing them on the journey and finding these amazing people and working with them. When I say amazing people, it's repairers. I think the industry sometimes gets a bad rap and it's known as a shonky industry and all that kind of thing. But what we found going out on the road is there's a lot of husband and wife combos out there, father and son businesses, family businesses that really want the work and a great tradesman and great craftsman, but connecting them with customers in a digital way is something that's completely foreign to them because the industry's never seen it. So we almost have to build the technology from the ground up, working with repair shops, working with them to give them what they needed to quote on cars and jobs and do it all digitally via photos, and to build really simple systems that these traditionally non-tech savvy people could operate with. And that's where it all began. And as we got deeper and deeper into the industry, we kept adding more and more features and more bits of technology that you get this stacking effect that by the end of it, you just build this behemoth that's digitized nearly every aspect of car repairs, from the repairer to the customer to assessors to even we've recently done our first insurance partnership as well. So now we're connected with them. So it just keeps growing. And to be honest, I think we're at the tip of the iceberg of what we can do, particularly when you start looking down the data path and how you can get a lot out of data to help repairers, customers, and insurers even.
And what are some of the things that you can get out of the data that would help? I mean, that's the thing with the smart city, right? It's getting that data and using it for insights. And we're seeing lots of things happening across the board in other areas. What are some of the use cases for smash repairs that you can kind of use that data for?
Well, the first one is, let's understand the industry. If you take a paper-based industry that hasn't been digitized, just creating the data in the first place is taking leaps and bounds, right? So there's the initial bit, and when I think about our more recent pivot into the fleet world, and that's a big part of our business, which I'll come back to soon, Jess, after I answer this question. But when you look at what you can do there, the first thing you can show someone is, well, what am I actually spending on my car repairs, aggregated over a year? What particular makes and models and vehicles are more to repair than other particular makes and models? Which areas of a vehicle tend to be getting more damage more frequently? And then you can start looking at, well, what are incident rates of collisions? How do the different players in the industry all connect to each other? And really, where the customer experience and that customer first lens that we do it, how can we use data to deliver a better customer experience? Be that for you, Jess, as a driver in the inner city, or be that for a big fleet customer of ours with 10,000 cars on the road. And how can we help them speed up their repair times, speed up getting their cars back on the road, save them money, and help them make better business decisions from insurance to purchasing? So it's a big spectrum.
That's great. And tell me more about the fleet then, that you said you're going to tell me more about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started in the retail world, just with everyday customers, mums and dads, people like you, Jess, people like my old housemate. In fact, the product was built for him so he could fix his cars. But that's where it all began. And we realized a little while into it, and I think this was brought on particularly by COVID, that there was a bigger opportunity in the corporate space. And I explained how, and everyone knows how painful it is to fix one car. Now imagine you're in charge of managing 100 cars for your company, or 7,000 cars when I think of one of our fleet customers. Like, that's 7,000 problems that you've got to deal with in a given year. And it's a very, very painful experience for them. And what we realized, what we had built for the general public was actually even more valuable for the fleet market, because you're digitizing everything, you're putting it into a central platform for them to all manage all their assets. And now you can start doing things like consolidated payments, everyone going through a single supplier, reporting and analytics, which I mentioned already, as well as approval systems. And that helps with everything from fraud to just removing the paper-based, or I call it email trails, that happen every day between businesses, where one driver on the road in the middle of nowhere damages a car and someone in the Sydney or Melbourne head office is now tasked with fixing this thing. So all of that has just been completely streamlined and made easy. And that's a huge benefit for fleets. And that's why that particular segment for us is growing. So as we found that the more and more with COVID and cars in lockdown and needing a contactless solution, we were the only player in the industry able to deliver something digital. E-commerce boomed, if you think of the last 12 to 18 months. And that's because consumers couldn't get out to shopping centers anymore to buy anything. So they had to do it online. Well, cars was the same. You couldn't get to a panel beater, but we were the only one in the market that actually had an end-to-end digital experience. So that became quite attractive to businesses, particularly an essential business or anyone that needed to keep their car on the road. How do I do this safely? And you could do it all from home. Your employee from their driveway walks outside, takes a few photos, to a panel beater picking up the car, disinfecting it, returning it back. It's completely contactless. Even the payment was happening through our system. So we created a workplace health and safety solution for businesses during this testing time of COVID. And that really helped put us on the map and accelerate things, despite there being significantly less cars on the road. we grew quite substantially during the lockdown period.
I saw that. That's incredible as well. And so what about what's in the future? Like, do you guys have any other technology like platforms that you want to release, or anything that you can kind of tell us about that you might be working on?
Yeah, so I think in the short term, we've got a lot to deliver for our core product. We're still a young business, we're still in early days, and there's a lot we can do just by small little feature ads. You know, I spoke about the stacking effect, but every little thing you can digitize from an old paper-based product or process, even something small about an automatic communication here or there, each one of those, these incremental value adds to our corporate customers that continues to make our product more and more sticky. So, you know, in the short term, we're going to add a lot more of that in the car space. And, you know, without getting into too much detail of how the insurance integrations work and the assessors and all the claims management side. So that whole piece can start to fall into a single platform for us, which is really exciting. And then the next iteration after that is international expansion. So very excited to announce we're about to launch in New Zealand, which is great.
Yeah, that's great.
So taking things offshore, and then doing more with our data. And, you know, the whole world's heading down that data, that AI piece, or really, what should I say, like making sense of your data and turning that into products itself. So there's a lot that we can do even in our short life. The amount of digital transactions we've got and visibility into an industry that most people have no visibility into is mind-boggling. So there is just so much we can do there. It's kind of like, you know, there's only one thing, a step at a time, that you can take with products.
Amazing. And for people listening, if they want to find out more, where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, try us out.
Yeah.
The retail product, www.dingo.com.au. That's DingGo with 2 Gs.com.au.
Amazing. And we'll put that in the show notes as well. Well, Shaun, thank you so much. It's been really interesting chatting to you, and yeah, best of luck with everything. It sounds amazing. When I do start eventually driving, I'm sure, or hopefully not, but if I do happen to have anything go wrong, I'll definitely hit you guys up as well.
No problem, Jess. We shouldn't need to exist, but
yeah,
when you need us, you're very happy that we're there.
And that's actually one final thing. How's the housemate doing? Is he finding
he's great. Still our most loyal customer.
Great, amazing. That's fantastic. Okay, well, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks for having me.